So here is, if I turn off the front copper, the front mask, and so there's the back side. And those white lines that are going at random things, those are net list. The net list says something goes from here to here to here, but it's not hooked up. Well, when I flood that with ground, it gets hooked up. So, and the whole thing is net list based. If you're doing something and you say, oh, you know, it'd be really nice if I had a bypass cap from here to here, you cannot add that. It will not let you. If it's not in the schematic, it's not on the circuit board. So it's
engineering here, damn it.
no. So I mean, there are nice features to the whole thing.
Well, if you forget something to lay out, does it say you forgot something?
Yes, when you get done, you run the bug check up here, the one that looks like the bug, and it'll say these things are not hooked up. And when you import all the components, they all get spread out, and they're all laying there, and you got to move them onto the board. So then what you do after you're happy with all your circuit board stuff is you, on the schematic, you generate a net list before you've come to the circuit board, and then here you import the net list. So this is the import net list thing up here. And then you can, I make all the Gerbers, it's literally one button, or not one, but I can regenerate all the Gerbers for this. And so if I go to, yeah, maybe I don't want to do that and lose the files. At any rate, you can print things here or you can plot them, which, all right, I'll give it a shot here. So here is generate the Gerbers, and over on this left side, I've got checked which layers. I want front copper, back copper, front silk, back silk, solder mask, and the edge cuts. So there's 7 things. And yeah, I know, okay. So anyhow, that makes the Gerber files, and I send those to China. And if your board is really small, you can get 10 of them for $9.95. Plus, you got to pay shipping to get them here, and the shipping, frankly, greatly outweighs the cost of the boards. For bigger boards, I do a small batch, and if like these little, like ones this size, I can get. Well, for these, I ordered 100 of them. It was $50 for the boards. And I did three of my boards and the 2 of Rod's that are going around. And it was $250 for all those boards, and it was about $50 shipping. So for $300, I got 100 of everything.
Have you ever looked into OSH? Oshport?
I have, and I've ordered boards through them. And while I've not been disappointed with the quality, I've been more than a little annoyed with their throughput times. Because they're aggregating, you know. They're like, you send it in, and it's like, and
But you're not shipping back and forth to China either.
$50 for shipping.
I buy the $50 for shipping.
Boards are expensive though.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it that.
The shipping though, for $50, I get a phone call. I've sent my money on PayPal, and I've sent them the files, and they've sent a couple cursory emails back and forth, and then nothing happens. And the next thing you know, I get a robocall from DHL that says, we're going to be there tomorrow. and you go to DHL's website with the number, and it to me is just
OSH?
no, just directly from the Chinese guy. They give it to DHL in Shenzhen, and it's about a day and a half, and the guy's knocking on your door. I mean, it's just astounding how fast that is. But anyhow, so that's my whole circuit board story. OSH, I do use OSH for stencils, and I've gotten the that's not Mylar. I've forgotten the name of that. Look, is the Kapton like the yellow stuff? So there's a stencil for Kapton, and here's a stencil that's stainless steel.
What do you use to squeegee on the paste, and where do you buy your paste?
I buy the paste from DigiKey during the winter time when it's cold, all the way from northern Minnesota to here.
Oh, yeah?
Because they ship it with a little cold packing thing, and you don't want to do that in the summertime. And so I do it in the wintertime, and I just get them shipped in the mail, and it comes here, and gee, it's cold.
You store it in a freezer?
I keep it in the freezer, yeah. It's just a little jar.
Where do you use to apply?
And an old credit card.
Okay.
And in fact, they send you a thing with the stencil that you can apply. Now, this doesn't travel particularly well, but there's a plastic thing here, and you put the circuit board in the corner of it to hold it in place, and you flip this down.
So with that manual alignment process, Barry,
There it
what's the
is.
smallest components you've been able to reliably put down? 402s, 0805s?
I use 805s because I can't deal with stuff smaller than that.
But even so, 0805, you can get that lined up manually by hand, so when you put the paste down, they're hitting the pad?
You look at it. I mean, to me, it's perfect.
Okay.
So there's a chip on here that's a 48-pin TQFP. It's a four-sided thing. I cannot put those parts down myself. I would write a check this afternoon to buy one myself. It's the learning curve that just, you know, I've finally gotten good. I've finally gotten what I consider good with this thing, okay, and now pick and place. So this thing spews out the Gerbers, and the pick and place machine is going to read that and go, oh, the center of this part needs to be right there, and the center of that part needs to, and semi-magically, all those things get, the pick and place says, you tell them where you put the full strip of parts, and it goes over here and it picks number 1 of the 1K resistor, and it goes padoink, and it puts it down, and then it goes and gets the second one off the same strip, and it puts that one down, and then gets the third one. I won't be shy about saying I would love to have one of those. So I'm buying the paste, and Heineck's has got his lens out and his magnifier there, and he's checking out registration.
See if it passes bohemian quality.
So then I have Jack Kovar come over to the house, and he puts the parts down for me because he's one of those guys that's got the right touch, and yeah, I mean, he can just do it. And so he puts the TQFP and the USB connector down, and it's got the paste on it. And frankly, it's non-trivial to do this because you've got the fingers that are on the circuit board. You have to put the paste on those fingers. Not over here. You got to put the paste on the fingers. Then when you bring the component down, you got to put the leads on the paste, not in between where it wants to go. So you're building up this thing, and so anyhow, then I take that and I put it in a toaster oven, and it's $19.95 at Walmart. I mean, there is literally I've got a temperature thermocouple thing, but I don't have a fancy control, no closed loop. And
Is GE good enough? GE, good enough?
yes, it is. And it's like 4 or 5 minutes, and I run the thing up. There's a profile you're supposed to follow, and it's like, well, I run it up a ways, and it's like, yeah, okay, it's getting hot in there. And then you run it up some more to the near max setting on that oven, and at around, I think you're getting close to 400 F. And you're looking in the window, and you start to see the flux. Yeah, it's starting to cook a little bit, you know, and then all of a sudden there's, from the back to the front, if you're looking at the LED in there, it just goes shiny. And you can just see it coming. It's just from the back where the heat is more intense to the front window, and it just gets shiny like that, and you go, okay, and I turn it off. And
You use lead-based solder? Or keep
yes,
it-
I do use lead.
So lead-free would be a real.
It's,
Don't even think about it.
yeah.
When I run out of it, I start thinking about it.
So,
Studies that have been performed to follow up to see how many lives we've actually saved by going lead-free.
It's such a trivial amount. I mean, one shotgun shell is all the solder I ever
You can't control where the money goes unless you legislate.
so back to very high level again here. The voice over IP stuff. Since Brian's moving to Des Moines, this is literally the package I'm giving him. Where should I stand here? So here is a very nice exclusive brand. I don't know. It's a $50 VHF UHF radio that I bought off of, I think, even Amazon for where I got it. and it's 10 watts high power, 4 watts in low power. I got it set in low. It's on UHF. Here's a eBay 12 volt 5 amp power supply switcher. It's about 7, 8, 9, I don't know. Here's a 12 to 5, and I use that to run the Raspberry Pi. I found that if you're using inexpensive power supplies, there can be, and so you could run this off separate power supply. But if either the wall wart or this has just a little bit of leakage, the low side of this and the low side of that are 50, 75 volts apart. I mean, it isn't pretty sometimes. So I've gone to a single power supply, so the low side of the 12 and the low side of the 5 are the same. And then the 5 volts runs into the Raspberry Pi, and the USB from the Pi to the VoIP circuit board I got, and then it's analog over to goes in the hole in the back of the radio here. Push to talk, carrier operated squelch, transmit audio, receive audio. And so there's one of these, well, we've been deploying a few of these things. Well, there's one of these at my house right now, and this is 443.8, and the software that runs on here is if you want to know more about this, go to Ham VoIP, all one word, HAM VoIP, voice over IP. And
You're not gonna cook jewels, are you?
no.
Six connected.
W0IY test. So there's a phone app. The software that's running all this is a version of Asterisk, and I'll make Bill talk on FM.
Oh my
Why
God.
would I want to talk on FM?
Yeah.
Talk on FM, Barry. This is Rockwell.
So you can't hear the quality necessarily really well, but N0LNO, W0IY. There's a little push to talk button on here. And so I can command this to connect to other nodes. And so basically what's going to happen is Brian's going to have this at his house in Des Moines. He'll have an HT. He'll talk to there. We'll be magically connected through the internet to Cedar Rapids, and he'll come out on UHF on the radio farm repeater. So part of the deal here is we're trying to get people from our radio farm family, if you will, who are out of town to be able to connect. And so Chuck Golnick out in Portland has a similar setup, and he's got some problems that we're trying to get worked out. But at any rate, the idea is you can do that. And there's also, I am investigating at a slow but slightly deliberate pace. You can make these things talk to HF radios. And
Support a CAD interface, and so you can let that run the transceiver.
there's something called ham-lib, and it's already installed on here. And so I need to maybe build something that goes between ham-lib and the asterisk. The asterisk spits out, here's what touch tone I just saw. And now and then it takes it over into, there's a table of, when you hear this touch tone sequence, do this with the radio. So, like I say, I'm not there yet, but, okay, I'll stop. Yep. Any questions on the stuff going around?
How reliable do you get the, like your quad flat packs, your bottom terminated devices down? Like the ICs? I can, and you, okay, so you want the easy bake oven, these are 0805 you said, right? So I assume you don't have a whole lot of tombstoning type problems? Or
No, I have not. Mm-mm.
They're big enough, you don't have to worry about it.
I-
Quad flat packs, QFNs type packages, they go down nice.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just
I mean,
like,
unless you bend them, when they come out of the tube, they're,
no. What I meant was soldering them down.
oh,
Yeah, they-
tack the corners, you can do them by hand.
I have not seen as much self-alignment as I would like it
Okay.
to have had occur. And
have to do with the way you're heating it up?
it may
Is
well.
that preheat for the board?
It may well.
Are you using liquid flux?
No.
If you do, as soon as that solder melts, the surface tension of the solder will yank that IC into perfect alignment. It'll center
When do you put the flux down?
before you put it in the oven. So you can put it down, you can put the flux down on the pads with the paste first, or paste then the flux.
Oh.
Then you can put the ICs through the flux onto the solder, or you can put they'll stick better if you put them directly on the solder and then just dribble flux around
But
them.
you said also you're not getting an even heat. In other words, you can see it melt from the back even going forward, right?
It's
Yeah.
almost instantaneous.
Yeah, I mean, that's
Once it starts, it goes.
2 seconds or something. It's once it starts to go, it just goes. Yeah.
Try the liquid flux, that stuff is amazing.
I've got that. I was afraid that it would melt the paste.
It's water soluble, so when you're all done, you just rinse it off and run it through the dishwasher or whatever.
I wonder if the pick and place could do the same thing with the flux.
No,
I think Barry's point is that since he's starting off, instead of soldering by hand, he's got a paste on, and is the paste going to cause the paste, is the flux going to cause the paste to start to run?
no, they don't interfere with each other.
I know you're not supposed to do it, but when Jack and I sit down for a session on it, it's hard honestly to keep up with the process, if you even want to call it a process. But at any rate, so I've put the paste down, I've schmooied the boards. That's a technical term.
I'm trying to hang with you here, Barry.
Yeah, okay. when I put the paste down and schmooied the boards, and then I put I had Jack put the part down and the USB connector, and then I ran the whole thing over and set it in the oven, or not in the oven, in the freezer, and I let it sit for a couple days. Because by the time you hand do the rest of all the parts, that solder paste has gotten room temperature, and it's just starting to.
I'm just impressed that you're able to do your own screening and hand squeezing.
That's impressive.
Yeah, haven't done that.
It rocks.
It's not hard. Let's do it a couple
Magnifying
times.
glass.
I use an old credit card. for the
Yeah,
squeegee.
yeah.
Spray.
And I had been watching off and on at Hamfest for several years, and last year at Peoria, I scored on a microscope, a really nice stereo, and if you're just eyeballing, and I've got magnifying glasses or my Harbor Freight headband glass, if you look at the paste on the board and you go, hey, wow, that's pretty good. And then you put it under the microscope and you go, I didn't completely miss, but it didn't great. So in that case, I do not hesitate to, I use acetone and I just wipe it off, clean the whole board off, I pop it in the oven for a minute or two to warm it up, to clean off the residue, burn it off, and then we'll do it again. But in the beginning, I wasn't being that picky about where the paste really, the registration that you were looking at. And by the way, that stainless stencil is just light years better than the plastic one.
Where'd you get that cut at?
Osh stencil.
Stencil.
Mm-hmm.
You sent them a Gerber file, they sent you back a hunk of metal in the mail, huh?
Yep. I realize I'm inventing 80 factory technology or but I'll tell. So the VoIP board, this thing here, I sent the files. All the people in China want you to, son, we can do everything. We can do, yeah, well, bullshit. So I sent them all the files, and I said, okay, there's two parts that are hard to put down. This one and this one, the IC, and oh, by the way, everything else is 805. There's parts on the top and on the bottom. There's only like 10 on the bottom, and I said, how much, and you guys go buy the parts. Run to Uncle whoever so-and-so down the street and buy the resistors. I don't care. You go get the parts. And they came back. 10 boards would be around $250, I think, which isn't horrible, except you really want to order 50 or 100 of something to get the volume price. It's all setup fees. And it's how many individual part numbers, because they need a tape feed for 1K and 10K and blah, 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 blah. And so it's those parts that there's only one of them on the board cost you a lot more money than the 10Ks and the 1Ks. And so, I don't know how big if there is a market or how big it is. I don't expect it to be huge, and I don't mind helping Jack out, and Jack doesn't mind helping me out, and we just kind of go on that way for now. So, but anyhow, any questions? Good luck. Good luck in the contest. So I'll